Hello.
Hi, everyone.
It's time for lunch, so that means we have our special lunchtime session. Woo!
イエーイ日本語でちょっとだけ、案内します、このランチタイムセッションでは各ホームルームの、リーダーをゲストにお呼びして、インタビューをしていくんですけれども、もし、ランチ食べながら見てる生徒さんいらっしゃったら気軽に質問とかコメントを書いてもらったら配信中に読ませていただくので、何でも質問してください。コメント、質問は日本語でも英語でもどっちでも大丈夫です。お待ちしてます。Okay.
Yes. All right. So students and coaches, please ask any questions. Yeah, like Naho said in Japanese or English. For our two special guests today, we have Sofie and Cris. Oh my God! What?
Oh.
Hey everyone,
Hi.
my name is Matt Pollock. It's so nice to meet you. I've been doing English workshops since 2015.
Hey everyone, my name is also Matt Pollock.
Oh my God! What? Did you print those out?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Matt, special guest. That was actually hilarious.
3 months.
Oh
Three
my
minutes. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it actually took a while to print out, but I think it's pretty good quality.
Yeah, what do you
Guys,
think?
very good quality.
It
They
is. You. I think you could take over my identity now. You could
Uh-oh.
come and be Matt in English.
It should be English workshop merch. We should give them as souvenirs to everybody.
Matt masks.
Matt.
I
They're
wish
functional.
I could have
Protect you.
one. Yeah, not mask.
Yeah.
When are you selling these mud masks?
Oh, they'll be available on our Etsy store. We have a joint one starting
Yeah.
today.
I'll buy one. It's me, but I want one.
I want to.
By the way, I broke those sunglasses on
Oh,
my first
no.
day in Japan.
Oh.
Matt, I think you need one of these masks.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
It would replace the sunglasses. Full arts and
Oh.
crafts workshop. We've already got plans for a Spanish one, apparently. So, it can be arts and crafts in Spanish.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh, stop it.
You can just
It's so
be
good.
watching in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys for that. That made my day. But let's actually introduce yourself, not
Okay.
Matt's. So, Sofie, why don't you start?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Sofie. I actually joined the program in 2019, not 2015 like Matt. So I joined in 2019 because I graduated from college that year. I went to MIT here in Boston, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And that summer, I actually got to do the workshop in person in Japan. I traveled to Shinjuku to do the program. It was a little bit different. Instead of being several weekends, it was several weeks with a different group of students every week. A lot of coaches had the opportunity to travel to different cities, but I was in Shinjuku the whole time, which was pretty fun, actually, because I got to travel on weekends just for fun. I think if I did it again, I would try to be in a different city every week to teach, but, we'll see what the future holds. When I was at MIT, I studied comparative media studies, which is kind of a blanket major. You could study a lot of different things within CMS, which is the letters for comparative media studies. Specifically, I studied digital games and interactive media. with an emphasis on using them for educational purposes. And that's how I got into teaching. And well, I must really like teaching because the English workshop can't get rid of me. I've been doing the program this is my 4th year, and I hope to keep coming back. It's always a lot of fun.
We hope you're back and expect you back every year, Sofie. Thank you.
That's my life mission, to keep doing the program.
Next year as me, taking my identity.
Oh, it's already starting. You can't fight it, Matt. It will happen.
All right. Thank you, Sofie. And Cris, how about you?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Cris, and I'm from the US, specifically the state of Texas. And this is my 3rd year with the program, my 2nd year as a leader. Go home room 2. And this is actually my 3rd virtual year with the program. I joined in 2020, which was the first virtual year because of the pandemic. So I haven't been to Japan yet. I really want to visit. And one of my main motivations for continuing to participate in the program is that hopefully one day I can have the same great experience in person. And so, like Sofie, I joined the year I graduated. I graduated in 2020, and I went to Dartmouth, which is an Ivy League university in the small state of New Hampshire. And there I studied Romance languages, which is the family of languages related to Latin. So specifically, I studied Spanish, Italian, and French. I really like languages, but I haven't yet learned Japanese. One day. And then outside of the program, I actually work as an English teacher abroad. I spent the last 2 years teaching English in France. Not in Paris, but in the south of France, which is actually the region I prefer. And then this fall, in just a couple of months, I will be moving to Spain for another year of teaching English in Europe. So I'm very excited for that. And I guess my interests outside of languages and outside of teaching include travel and video games, especially Nintendo.
All right. Thank you, Cris. Yes, so if you want to ask any questions, students, maybe about games, both Sofie and Cris love games, or Sofie's time in Japan, or where Cris wants to go in Japan, or in France, Spain, please ask some questions on the comments. Oh, language learners.
Yes, we got some comment from Lily-san. She likes many languages too.
Yeah, so please, students, type some questions too for Cris and Sofie. But let's ask the first question while we wait. Cris, we'll start with you. Where do you want to go in Japan? And then Sofie will ask what your favorite is, or your favorite place.
That's hard. I mean, really, I want to go everywhere. Of course, I would love to visit Tokyo because that is the city I think I see the most in media, like in movies and video games, and it would just be really cool to see it in real life. But also, I think I'd really like to see the Japanese countryside outside of the major cities. I know Japan is really well known for nature, for trees, and also for the traditional temples. And I just think that is completely different to anything I've seen before in the US or in Europe.
And Sofie, what's your favorite place you've been, I guess, already been?
Oh, that's such a difficult question. So I definitely spent most of my time in Shinjuku when I was in Japan because the Toshin building is in Shinjuku. So I really liked going to Akihabara. That was awesome. I spent a weekend in Osaka and Kyoto as well. I went by myself to meet a friend from university. when I went over there, and the two of us went to a fireworks festival, which was really, really cool. So I like I like those places as well. And I really, really liked Hakone because, well, Matt and Naho know, when we finished our training week, the coaches, we all went, just a humongous group, to Hakone to stay in cabins by the lake. And it was so much fun. That weekend is probably one of my favorite experiences traveling ever in my life. And so I would love to go back to Hakone, especially with that many people again, just because we had so much fun the entire weekend.
Yeah, and we hope both of you will be there next year in Hakone with us. All right. Naho, we got lots of questions now, right?
Yeah, just to add little information about the global English Club. Previously, 今オンラインのプログラムを始めて3年目になるんですが、コロナウイルスが始まる前、2019年までは実際にコーチが日本に来て対面でのプログラムを行ってました。なのでソフィーは2019年には実際に日本で生徒の皆さんとプログラムを行っていたんですが、クリスは2020年からオンラインのプログラムに参加しているので、ぜひ来年は現地開催したいなとみんなで言っているところです。Yes, and now we get in more questions. How many hours do you usually sleep?
That's a good question.
Usually versus English workshop.
Okay. Well, I think I'll start with this one. That depends. When I was in university, usually 6 or less hours, which was not good. Do not be like me. Sleep more hours than I did. Since graduating, I usually try for 7 or 8 hours, which I think is healthier. That doesn't always work out. Sometimes I sleep less hours, sometimes I sleep more hours. But during this program, because I live in Boston, so on the east coast of the United States, it's a 13-hour time difference to Japan. And so day 1 to day 2, I always, I think, get maximum 3 hours of sleep, sometimes 0 hours, because I also have to go to work between doing the program. So today I managed to get the 3 hours, so I have a lot of energy, I'm very energetic, but after day 2, I'll make sure to sleep a lot, so I'm ready for day 3.
Yeah, for me, I really like to sleep. It probably is another one of my hobbies. And in my perfect world, I would sleep for 9 hours a night. But realistically, I probably sleep closer to 7 or 8. But I am not a morning person. So even if I have the same amount of sleep, say 7 or 8 hours, I would prefer to stay up late and then sleep in and wake up a little bit later in the morning. But yeah, also in university, I slept much less than I do now. And that is one thing I think I like about having graduated, is being able to sleep more and study less.
Agreed.
Asako also comment. Want to talk with you, maybe next year in Japan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Asako-san. And we got some questions from leaders. Anyway, funniest moment at the Global.
I definitely have an example for this. I think Matt knows what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Banana.
The banana, yes. So in 2019, when I was in person in Japan, I had a group of students. It was my second week. And for the first day, everyone was very nervous. So there wasn't a lot of talking at first. People just wanted to listen to me and to my partner coach talk. So to try and give a good example of some questions to ask each other, my partner at the time, we were asking each other like, oh, what's your favorite cartoon? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite fruit? And so then I said, oh, my favorite fruit is banana. And then this one student who was absolutely silent before then, he stands up and he says, no, I don't like bananas because I'm allergic. They make my skin itch. And then he sits back down. And then later, at the end of the day, we were choosing team names. And it ended up that everyone in the homeroom chose team names based on food. And this one team on the other side of the classroom, they all stand up and they shout, Team Banana! And then my student stands up and he says, no, no banana! And then we were Team No Banana for the whole week. And Team Banana was our rival. We were competing with them the entire week. And it was really fun and so funny, everything that we said to each other. And from that day on, my team, who was very nervous at first, wasn't nervous anymore. They talked so much, and I was so happy.
Wow, that's
Funny.
a great story. For me, I think my story isn't quite as long, but every weekend in my homeroom, we try to do a dance party. And I think that my favorite is when the students and the coaches get creative with their dancing. For example, one of my co-leaders, Grace, has a giant teddy bear in her room. And so she will get up and she will start to waltz around the room with her teddy bear. And it's gotten to the point where the students have become inspired. And they also like to show their stuffed animals, which I think is really cute.
I love it. Oh. Taka, what, yeah.
Well, Cris, you already started. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah. So outside of the program, my main job is teaching English abroad. So I spent 2 years in France working at a French middle school and a French high school as an English teacher. And this year, I'll be going to Spain for a very similar job. And I think it's a really fun job because so often these students are learning from textbooks. And I really see their excitement when they get to talk to me, a real English speaker, and we can talk about pop culture, video games, and fun things like that.
Awesome. So my current job, or jobs actually, because I have a couple, they're actually not that related to what I studied in university. When I came back from Japan, I kind of did a lot of different things during when COVID started, and then kind of ended up in these jobs almost by accident, but I like them, so I'm going to stay in them for a bit. The main one is I'm actually a math tutor. I teach math in an after-school program for kids in 2nd grade of primary school through the end of high school. So all levels of math, from learning shapes, like what is a hexagon, until pre-calculus and calculus even. And I just really like math. I think it's a really awesome subject, especially if you can think of different ways to teach it. I think most people who don't like math maybe just didn't learn it the right way. And if they learn it a different way, they might like it better or understand it better. So I have a lot of fun with that. And the good thing about tutoring math is that I have some extra hours in the day to work for local theaters in Boston. So since I really like storytelling, and I did a lot of storytelling in college for digital games, now I do it for something that's not digital. I do it for plays and musicals in the Boston area. Specifically, I got into what's called crafting and making, or building things. So I make things out of wood and metal and other materials, because what I do specifically for the local theaters is props. So it's the items that the actors use to help them tell the story. So for example, if the play is about samurai, they might need a sword and a mask and a helmet. And so I make all of those for them. So I got to take one of my hobbies that I really liked, and now they pay me for it, which is pretty cool. And in doing so, I've been able to work with lots of different groups who tell different kinds of stories that you might not have heard before in the theater. So for example, a science fiction theater very close to MIT, and a theater that does plays in Spanish, actually in the next city over from Boston, Chelsea, because I was actually born in Mexico, so I speak Spanish. And that's been really cool for me to do as well. My dad is really proud because, you know, usually I do plays in English, but now I can do one in Spanish. So yeah, that's what I do.
That's awesome. You turned your hobby into a job. That's just really cool. Always so inspiring. All right, what do we got? We got all sorts of student questions coming in.
Yeah. So next question, what country culture do you like the best?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I would have to go with Italy. I think it's a beautiful country with a rich history, great architecture, and I also love Italian food. Pasta, gelato, foods like that are fantastic. So definitely Italy.
Yeah, me too. Now I'm hungry. Oh man. So did we lose Sofie?
Maybe. Can you still?
Maybe not. Well, while we wait for Sofie, Cris can answer the next one.
Okay.
Why do you join this event?
Ooh, so are we talking about this specific interview or the Global English Workshop in general?
Probably the English workshop, I think.
Yeah.
The English Workshop. Like I said, I really want to go to Japan, and so I keep hoping that this program will be in person. But also, I think my first year when I did the program, I really loved the experience of being a coach, of working with students. But I was so nervous, and there were so many things I learned by the end of the program I wish I had known in the beginning. And so I decided to become a leader so that I could help future coaches learn from my mistakes and have the best possible experience.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. My camera and mic are very cheap and they got disconnected, so I had to fix them.
No problem. And Sofie, we know you come back every year.
Yes. Yeah, I think I first joined the event because I just found out about it. An email was sent to all the MIT students at the time, and I thought it sounded really cool, a nice opportunity to teach and experience a different culture. And so I'm glad that I joined because I can't imagine my life without it now.
Oh, so nice. We cannot imagine the life of the English Workshop without you two. Both of you. Oh, the next one.
Yeah, we
Difficult.
getting similar question of English education.
Yeah, but that question comes later too.
Son
Ah,
is what kind of educational method do you think are effective for junior high school students? Yeah, we getting similar question too.
Yeah, people always ask me that. They say, Cris, you're an English teacher. How do I learn English? I really do think that getting to practice conversations with a native speaker, like you are all doing in this program, is one of the best ways to practice. But the reality is, we don't always have conversation partners. And so, if you are studying by yourself with the internet, my biggest recommendation is find the content you already enjoy in Japanese and look for it in English too. For example, I don't really like history. And so trying to study Spanish or Italian history isn't very appealing. But I love video games. And so one thing I do is I find YouTubers who play the video games I already like in the languages I studied. And that way, because I'm already interested in the subject, it gives me more motivation to practice speaking and learn more vocabulary.
Yeah, I totally agree with Chris. And I think two things that were useful for me when learning other languages. Number one, forget about being afraid of making mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Even native speakers make mistakes. There are days when I wake up and I can't speak English. So whoever you're talking to, whether it's a classmate who's also learning or a native speaker, just say as much as you can and worry about the mistakes after. The other thing, similar to what Chris said, is to find, well, I found what's really useful is children's TV shows. So TV shows like Sesame Street for really little kids, because they speak very slow and use words that are easier to understand. So for example, when I was first learning German, there was a cartoon called Strawberry Shortcake. Maybe you're not that familiar. In German, it's Emily Erdbeer. They changed her name. But my German teacher showed the cartoon to us in class. And this was when I was in 7th grade, and the cartoon is supposed to be for kids who are 4 or 5 years old, but it was still interesting for us because it was the level that we could understand. So that's what I recommend as well. Look for a TV show meant for really small children, and then start watching more difficult TV shows after.
Those are both good points, good advice. Watching the streamers play the games, I haven't heard that one. And then children's shows. Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, what's next? I see. Oh.
This is what is your favorite story about MIT?
Oh, that is a difficult question. I have so many stories, and some of them didn't even happen to me because MIT has and has always had a kind of storytelling culture. We pass down stories from the history of the students. So, for example, some of my favorite stories to tell are from the 1930s, for example. And one of the things we do with these stories is we get together in September at like midnight. There's a day for this, and we all tell them to each other, even people who graduated like 30 years ago. But my favorite story that happened to me, this is very difficult. Okay, so when I was in university, I joined a club called the Spinning Arts Club. And I know that's not a very good descriptive title, so to explain it, we would choreograph movement and dancing with fire. So it's called spinning arts because we would take a prop, so some sort of object that you light on fire and spin it around while dancing to music. And I'm not a very good dancer, but I was pretty good at that kind of stuff. So for example, I would spin what's called staff. It's like a long stick with fire at both ends, and do that. I would also breathe fire. So I would put fuel, don't try this. I would put fuel in my mouth and then spit it out and light it on fire like a dragon. And so my senior year, my 4th year, my final year, something we do in the spring is we always do a show for high school students so they can come to see MIT and think that we're very cool. And my final year, I did 2 routines in the show. And one of them I did with my really good friend, Dan. We were partners for that one. And we chose music from a popular movie called High School Musical, which maybe you don't know it. It was popular when I was in like 4th grade, so it might be too old for you. But everyone who's my age really thought it was funny. And one of the things that happens in that movie is these two characters, they dance and they bring out a ladder and climb to the top at the end. And so we didn't tell anyone we were going to bring out the ladder. We just brought it out, and the entire audience watching went wild. They were like, "Oh my God, it's the ladder!" And we climbed to the top and, finished the dance, and everyone applauded for us, and it was really fun. So maybe that story would be more fun if you've seen the movie High School Musical, but it was really fun for me at the time, especially because doing stuff with fire was fun for me. We were very safe also. I had to do 4 hours of safety training before I started this. I recommend you learn safety before you do this.
Good point. Now, because now all the students will go practice fire breathing.
Yeah.
So before we go, we're gonna do rapid fire, quick, short questions that we have. So
Yeah, I think I skipped some question here, like
the easy question.
what is the most delicious Japanese snack?
Onigiri.
Ooh.
Oh, onigiri and?
I would probably say mochi.
Oh, I was wrong. Mochi. I changed my answer.
Mochi's so good.
Nice.
And also,
Yes.
have you ever read Attack on Titan?
I haven't. My brother has.
Ooh, you have to, Chris.
I know.
New recommendation.
And which country do you want to go?
I want to go back to Japan.
I want to go to Japan for the first time.
Yes.
Oh.
But more, what kind of music do you like?
I like a lot of different types, but maybe not the kind of stuff that is popular right now. So I like music from when I was a teenager, or even younger. So for example, two of my favorite bands are Simple Plan and Blink-182, but I also like music from video games. I listen to music from Legend of Zelda a lot, more often than normal music. And of course, I like music from anime. I think it's really good, the opening themes and ending themes. Chris, what do you think?
I agree. I do listen to some pop, some rock, some rap, but also a lot of soundtrack music from video games, from TV shows. And my favorite TV show, it's actually a Western cartoon called Steven Universe. And the music is incredible. I highly recommend it.
I need to check that.
Yeah, me too.
It's very cute.
Yeah.
And also we got, what club activity did you belong to in high school?
I did several activities, but probably my favorite, I did theater in high school. Every year my school did one play and one musical. And so I did that for 4 years. And I also went to a boarding school, which meant that I lived at my high school in the dorms. And so I really liked dorm life, activities on the weekends, getting to have meals with the students and also the teachers. And I was also a prefect in the dorm, which is kind of like a leader, like you see in Harry Potter.
So
yeah, so I'm going to say one club from high school and one club from junior high school, actually. So in high school, my favorite club was German club. German was the language that I took. And one of the events that we did in German club was called a progressive dinner, which meant that we had the first part of the dinner, the appetizers, at one student's house. And then we all drove together to the next student's house for the main part of the dinner. And then we all drove together for dessert at the last student's house. And we would try to cook German recipes since we were learning German. And I made a lot of good friends through that. In junior high school, I was in Model UN, so I talked a lot. That's like a club where we pretend to be the United Nations. And so I got to talk a lot about similar topics to the SDGs that we're doing right now. And so that's another reason I joined the program, because I remember doing Model UN when I was in junior high.
Yeah. And that's the perfect point to end our lunchtime, because we're about to talk about the SDGs.
Oh, wow.
After lunch. Nicely done, Sofie.
Perfect timing.
Yes, thank you everyone for the questions. I know we have a lot we didn't get to.
We
but
got lots of comments.
Yeah.
But some of similar question, like teaching English in English is difficult.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
How can I speak English? And
just keep practicing
in junior high school. And this is also similar teaching English to us.
Yeah.
Oh, what is your hobby?
Theater.
Yeah.
And now I get paid for it.
For me, travel, video games.
Travel, yeah.
Medication. I think
So
this
many
means how many hours do you study?
Thank you too.
Yeah, thank you. You have to spend money on unexpected places. Yes. Travel can sometimes be very expensive. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So lots of questions we didn't get to, but the students, you should ask your coaches and your leaders these questions. Always ask questions. Everyone wants to talk, but Sofie and Cris. Yeah. But Sofie and Cris, thank you so much. We appreciate it, and I hope you can go get some lunch now, or a late night snack.
I have coffee.
All right, well, let's enjoy the rest of day 2.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Enjoy the rest of the program.